Let me tell you something wild. In South Korea, especially in Seoul, people are living in spaces so tiny you could probably touch every wall without taking a single step. But here's the twist. They are not struggling. They are winning. While the rest of us complain about rent, they've turned micro-living into a financial superpower. These tiny studios and compact homes are not a downgrade. They're secretly one of the smartest money moves you'll ever see. And once you understand how South Koreans make small living work, you'll start questioning why the rest of the world is still trying to fill giant homes with stuff nobody needs. When you hear the words micro apartment or Officetel, you might picture something cramped, cold, or uncomfortable. But in South Korea, especially in cities like Seoul, these tiny living spaces are a completely different story. They're not just small homes. They're a full-on strategy, a system, a lifestyle that helps people save money, stay flexible, and avoid the financial drain that comes with oversized living. Let me paint the picture. A typical micro apartment in Seoul might be around 15 to 20 square meters. That's it. But inside that tiny box is everything you need. A bed, a desk, a closet, a mini kitchen, and a bathroom. Every inch is optimized. There's no wasted space, no extra rooms you barely use, and definitely no pointless furniture that exists just to fill emptiness. South Koreans have mastered the art of fitting a full life into a tiny footprint. You walk in, and everything is organized with near-surgical precision. Shelves slide, tables fold, and storage hides in places you didn't even know were possible. Officetels take it even further. These buildings combine residential and office zoning, which means you can live, work, and run a small business out of the same tiny space. And because Officetels cater to young professionals and freelancers, they come with amenities that a lot of regular apartments don't offer. Think convenience stores in the lobby, cafes downstairs, gyms, laundry services, and even security staff. Suddenly, you're living small, but everything you need is right outside your door. Now here's the real magic: the money you save. Renting one of these spaces is significantly cheaper than a traditional apartment, especially if you want to live anywhere near the city center. In Seoul, location is everything. Living close to your job, school, or social life saves you time, transportation costs, and hours of daily stress. Micro apartments let people do exactly that without paying a fortune for a big place. The smaller the space, the smaller the bills. Heating, electricity, water, maintenance fees, they all drop dramatically. Cleaning takes minutes, repairs cost less, and you simply don't have room to waste money on unnecessary shopping. When your home is small, you buy less, you own less, you spend less, and that automatically leaves more money in your pocket for investments, travel, long-term goals, or simply building financial stability. South Koreans aren't living tiny because they have to. Many choose it because it makes sense. It's efficient, practical, and financially smart. It forces you to focus on what you actually need instead of drowning in what you don't. Micro apartments and Officetels aren't just small homes. They're a blueprint for living better with less and saving a fortune while doing it. Minimalism in South Korea isn't just a trend. It's deeply woven into the culture, influenced by history, simplicity, and the idea that your home should support your life, not overwhelm it. When you step inside a typical Korean minimalist space, you instantly feel the difference. It's not empty or sterile, it's intentional. Everything has purpose, everything has function, and everything helps keep living costs low. The Korean minimalist lifestyle starts with one powerful idea: be equals. Don't own what you don't need. This might sound obvious, but for most people in the West, clutter is normal. Big homes encourage buying. Extra space becomes an excuse to collect things you rarely touch. But in South Korea, especially in small homes, buying something means asking one simple question: where will this live? If the answer isn't clear, it doesn't come home. This habit alone saves a ridiculous amount of money. Minimalism also shows up in the way Koreans design and organize their spaces. Instead of stuffing rooms with furniture, they choose pieces that can do multiple jobs. A foldable desk that becomes a dining table, a bed with drawers underneath, wall shelves that replace bulky cabinets. Every object earns its place. This kind of efficiency turns even the smallest apartment into a comfortable, functional living space. Another key part of Korean minimalism is the focus on digital life. South Koreans are ahead of most countries when it comes to replacing physical clutter with digital alternatives. Books are on e-readers, documents are stored online, entertainment comes through streaming, and even appliances are getting smaller and smarter. When your digital world is organized, your physical world stays simple and your budget stays stable. Then comes one of my favorite parts, the cultural mindset. Koreans don't measure success by how big your home is or how much stuff you own. Instead, the focus is on education, experiences, food, relationships, and long-term goals. People would rather live small and save aggressively than fall into debt, trying to maintain a lifestyle that looks impressive but feels stressful. This alone flips the entire financial equation upside down. Minimalism also cuts down on impulse spending. When you're used to clean, open spaces, adding clutter feels wrong. Buying something becomes a thoughtful decision rather than a quick hit of excitement. And because minimalism encourages taking good care of the few things you do own, you end up replacing items far less often. At the end of the day, the Korean minimalist lifestyle is a quiet financial engine. It doesn't scream wealth. It doesn't brag. It simply saves money in the background day after day by living with less. Koreans free up more time, more mental space, and more financial power for the things that actually matter. One of the coolest things about South Korea is how people use shared spaces to make small living feel way bigger than it actually is. When your apartment is tiny, you don't try to force everything into your home. Instead, you let the city work for you. And South Korea has perfected this with an entire ecosystem of public spaces that replace the need for larger private rooms. Take gymjilbangs, for example. These public bathhouses and saunas are more than just places to relax. They're social hubs with heated rooms, resting areas, snack bars, and even sleeping zones. For just a small entry fee, you can spend hours lounging, recharging, and enjoying space you definitely don't have at home. It's basically a giant living room shared by everyone. Then you've got study cafes and co-working spaces everywhere you look. These spots are designed specifically for focused work, group projects, or just quiet time away from home. Students, freelancers, and office workers use them constantly. Instead of renting a larger apartment for a home office or extra room, people simply go down the street and get the workspace they need for the day. It's flexible, cheap, and way more productive. Even eating habits play a role. South Koreans love cafes and restaurants, and they're open late, sometimes 24 hours. Many people don't bother with big kitchens or full dining rooms because they don't need them. When eating out is affordable, convenient, and socially normal, you save space at home by keeping your kitchen minimal. And let's talk about delivery culture. South Korea has one of the fastest delivery systems in the world. Groceries, meals, household items, everything arrives at your door in minutes. You don't need big storage spaces or bulk shopping habits. You buy what you need when you need it, and it shows up almost instantly. All of this means one thing. Your tiny apartment isn't the center of your entire life, it's your base. The city provides the rest. By using shared spaces instead of private rooms, South Koreans avoid paying high rent for large homes. They still get access to comfort, entertainment, and productivity, just without the massive price tag. It's one of the smartest hacks for saving money while living small. If there's one thing South Korea absolutely nails, it's efficiency. When you walk into a small Korean apartment, you instantly notice how smoothly everything works. Nothing feels random or out of place. Every corner has a purpose. Every appliance is compact. Every layout is thought out. And this obsession with efficiency doesn't just make life easier. It slashes monthly bills without you even realizing it. Start with heating and cooling. Korean homes use ondol heating, a floor-based system that warms your home evenly and uses less energy than traditional heaters. When your space is small, it heats up fast and stays warm longer, which means your winter bills are way lower. Air conditioning works the same way. A tiny room cools down quickly, so you aren't running the AC for hours. Then there's lighting and appliances. Most Korean apartments come with built-in LED lights that last forever and consume barely any power. Appliances are compact and high efficiency because they're designed specifically for small living. Refrigerators are smaller, washing machines use less water, and combination appliances replace multiple bulky ones. Less space means less power consumption across the board. Storage is another big one. When you design your home around vertical space, hidden compartments, and multi-purpose furniture, you avoid buying extra items that clutter your home and increase costs. Built-in closets, underbed drawers, wall-mounted shelves. These features come standard. You don't need to buy huge wardrobes or expensive cabinets because the apartment already does the job. Cleaning also becomes almost laughably easy. A small space means you spend minutes, not hours, maintaining your home. You use fewer cleaning products and less water, and you avoid the slow buildup of junk that eventually leads to major cleanup costs. Even water usage is optimized. Korean bathrooms often use wet room designs where the entire space is waterproof. This makes showers quicker, easier, and less wasteful. Compact sinks, efficient toilets, and good insulation all contribute to lower utility bills. At the end of the day, efficient design turns a tiny apartment into a money-saving machine. You use less energy because everything is closer. You waste less water because everything is compact. You avoid unnecessary purchases because everything is built in. It's not just minimalism, it's engineering. South Koreans don't just live small, they live smart, and their monthly bills prove it. One of the biggest reasons South Koreans can live small and still save a ton of money comes down to one simple mindset. Location always beats size. In cities like Seoul, being close to where you work, study, or socialize isn't a luxury. It's a financial strategy. People would rather have a small apartment in a prime neighborhood than a big one far outside the city. And once you understand the math behind it, the choice makes perfect sense. Living close to the action means you're cutting transportation costs right from the start. Seoul has an amazing public transit system, but even then, long commutes add up. More bus rides, more subway transfers, more time traveling back and forth. When you're living near your workplace or campus, you're saving not just money, but hours of your life every week. And those hours add up. Less commuting means more time for side jobs, hobbies, or simply relaxing, instead of burning energy on crowded trains. Then there's the mental load. South Koreans work some of the longest hours in the world. The last thing anyone wants after a long day is a 40-minute trip home. When your apartment is just a short walk or a quick subway stop away, daily life becomes a lot less draining. That convenience is worth more than an extra 20 square meters of living space. This mindset also affects social life. Seoul is built around cafes, food spots, night markets, entertainment districts, and parks. Being close to these areas means you don't need a huge living room or a giant kitchen to entertain yourself. The city becomes your backyard. Instead of hosting friends at home, people meet outside. Instead of cooking elaborate meals, many grab affordable food nearby. When everything is within reach, your home doesn't need to do all the heavy lifting. And here's where the real savings kick in. Rent drops dramatically the farther you go from the center. But once you factor in higher transportation costs, longer commutes, and less access to daily conveniences, that bigger, cheaper apartment quickly becomes more expensive in the long run. South Koreans know this, and they choose efficiency over square footage almost every time. The location oversize mindset is about understanding what actually improves your life. A giant home doesn't mean much if it drains your wallet and steals hours of your day. A small home in the right spot, though, that's freedom, that's comfort, that's smart living. And it's one of the key reasons South Koreans save money while living small. And that wraps it up. If you enjoyed this breakdown of how South Koreans save a fortune by living small, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment telling me which habit surprised you the most. I post new videos just like this every week, so stick around if you're into smart money habits and global frugal living. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.